from us. Love wants you, we can bring it on the floor. Never danced like this before. We don't talk about it. Dance.
Hey guys, what's cracking? It's Kraken Nation, coach of the Boston Bisharps, and today we are here with a very exciting announcement. Season 5 draft has officially happened. So, also I've shaved. That's probably an even more exciting announcement to some people. But, so Season 5 draft has officially happened, and so we have our picks. Quick summation, I'm fairly happy with the draft, but my mega pick got sniped, and that mega pick getting sniped put me on a really bad mood, I guess. I ended up getting almost everything else that I could have possibly wanted. Honestly, I literally got everything else I wanted, but I didn't get the mega pick that I wanted, which is really unfortunate. I'm going to move everything over so that you guys can get a nice little symbol right here. So, regardless, we did miss out on our mega pick that we wanted, but it doesn't say that the draft went badly. We still have a pretty solid draft, so I'm pretty amped to see what it can do. Yeah, I have some mixed feelings because the draft was going to be literally perfect if I had gotten Mega Garchomp, which was unfortunately sniped by Classy Zorark in very early mega picks, and I was shocked and amazed and stunned and devastated. So it started off bad. I didn't know what was going to happen from there because we really needed that pick to secure the things we wanted, and so I was really nervous. So not having Garchomp was a hit right off the bat. I'm talking a lot about that because that was like the one thing that went wrong with this draft, honestly. The single whole one thing that went wrong with this draft was not snagging Garchomp, Mega Garchomp. So I really wanted it. I thought it was a really good Pokemon as far as like you have the option not to Mega Evolve it, so I can choose to have speed or I can choose to have power. So I thought it had some really nice options to it. I'm really frustrated not to have gotten it. But I got everything else that I wanted, so there's that. Regardless, we're going to hop right into it. First up, we did pick up Mega Medicham again. Mega Medicham was a great Pokemon to have, no doubt. It is kind of hard to use sometimes, though. Some of his moves aren't super standable, and the things that it can't beat, it just can't beat. Like, that's just a fact. If it can't beat a Pokemon outright, it just cannot beat that Pokemon. That's just kind of how the world works. Certainly, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, that's definitely a very unfortunate trait that it has. But that's not to say that it's not without amazing benefits. Of course, huge power, giving it essentially the equivalent of like a 218 attack stat. It's crazy. It's off the chain. Yeah, giving it crazy attack stat. Great move pool to use. So it's back from Season 4. Unfortunately, couldn't core with Manaphy. That was pretty fun, but I don't know if that's for the worst because next up we got Victini. Victini is our OU1 pick. This was my goal. The core was originally going to be Garchomp and Victini, which are both devastating wall breakers that can run either special or physical moves. And that makes them very hard to predict, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get Garchomp, and I was debating to get Gardevoir in that first spot, but I wasn't really sure. Because Gardevoir's first of all not a Pokemon I have a ton of experience with, but it also wasn't synergizing, I felt, super well with everything. Honestly, I was just pretty nervous about it. Gardevoir wasn't like a fit, I personally felt, and it also just actually doesn't have that much power if it doesn't get a Calm Mind up, which was very important to me as well. I really wanted the ability to get that right off immediate power, which Garchomp was going to afford me. Gardevoir, unfortunately, while having similar power, Garchomp's a little bit better in terms of bulk, in terms of pre-Mega Evolution. It also has some options, which Gardevoir isn't really as good at. So, regardless, Victini is a great Pokemon. It's one that I originally had wanted. Victini has the ability to run both physical special sets, Scarf sets, Life Orb sets, has some options in the setup as far as Power Up, Punch, and Flame Charge, has the exact coverage move pool it needs to hit anything it wants, gives me some options as far as pivoting goes. Honestly, what doesn't Victini do? It's very different from Manaphy, but also very similar to Manaphy in that it runs whatever, has all the coverage it needs. It's a guessing game as far as what it's running. Victini's a little more unpredictable, I would say. Because you're usually pretty safe to assume with Manaphy that you're going to be running Tail Glow 3 attacks. That's a pretty safe assumption. But with Victini, I could be running Special, I could be running Physical, I could be running Scarf, I could be running Band, I could be running Specs, I could be running Life Orb. Pretty hard to prep for. Man, if I had Garchomp. I'm so salty, guys. I'm so so salty. If I had Garchomp, would have been baller. But anyways, yeah, we have Victini. Victini's gonna be great. I'm really excited to see what it's gonna be capable of. It's basically what I had in mind from the start. So it should be able to put in some work. Yeah. Next up, we were actually looking at Mew and Jirachi. This was a controversial pick, but we were looking at Mew and Jirachi, both of which got sniped. I wasn't really super expecting to be able to pick up them, but I was hoping one of them was going to end up being available. The other thing was Slowbro also wasn't available, which was the other Pokemon I was like maybe considering. Skarmory, I was also considering. I literally had 4 Pokemon that I was literally willing to draft before Cresselia here, and they all got picked up. I was kind of peeved, but it ended up being Cresselia, who was not bad anyway, because I did want ultimately Cresselia in my UU1 spot. Was the original goal, didn't happen. I prioritized it here. But Cresselia gives me a really awesome ability to tank hits, paired up with Snorlax, and that's basically an unbreakable defensive core, is what I'm hoping. Fortunately, this thing doesn't even get Wish, though, which kind of sucks. It's not going to be... It's kind of what it gains in terms of typing synergy with Snorlax. It loses out compared to Alomola. It gains typing and loses move pool, like, an ability synergy, because Alomola was able to Wish Pass, and that was key for Snorlax, so I was definitely something I was going to be aware of. But it has a fantastic move pool. Basically runs anything it wants to run, including Trick, Magic Coat, Screens, offensive great move pool. I could run a Calm Minding set. Definitely runs the bulky sets well. I can run Moonlight. I can run Lunar Dance if I want, so it's definitely got the bulk that is an option. Yeah, it's definitely got the bulk. Moonlight's not the most reliable move to be relying on as far as healing goes, so I am hoping that this extra bulk that it has, because it does have ridiculous amounts of bulk, hoping that that's going to be helpful. However, at this point you may have noticed I have 3 Psychic types. Sorry, so that was kind of a questionable decision by me for sure. I'm not too upset with it, but I originally had planned on having Garchomp. That wasn't my original plan, and had I picked Gardevoir instead, I was also thinking about Aggron maybe, but had I picked Gardevoir instead, that would not have changed anything. I really needed that first slot to be Gardevoir, man. Really needed to be Gardevoir. Sorry, Garchomp. Really needed to be Garchomp. This fucking sucks. Man, I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Regardless, Cresselia is a great Pokemon. Gives me a ground type weakness, a ground type immunity to switch in for Victini. Takes up hits for days. Things that can beat Cresselia are going to be, honestly, a lot of wall breakers even struggle. But the things that do manage to beat Cresselia are going to be Fuel and Fire Routine. That's going to be specifically things such as status, boosting wall breakers. So going into the rest of my draft, those were things I wanted to be able to beat. Toxicroak was kind of a natural decision from there, because Toxicroak was a natural decision in a lot of ways. It was very controversial, but I have my reasons, and I really do stand by them. What's really nice about Toxicroak is that it has the ability to run Nasty Plot and Swords Dance, along with priority for both. It has Sucker Punch, Bullet Punch, and Vacuum Wave. So I can basically run Special or Physical very easily. At this point in my team, you'll also probably notice not only do I have a Psychic, not only do I have a Dark and Ghost weakness, both with Toxicroak can basically switch into Dark types and proceed to bop them with a close combat. So that was my first thought there. Has a very useful ability in Anticipation, specifically an even more useful ability in Water Absorb. Water Absorb lets it switch into Scald, which if you haven't noticed, this Pokemon, the team I've drafted so far, and the rest of the Pokemon I ended up drafting, nobody wants to take Scalds. Or, like, nothing ideally wants to get burned, is what I should say. So, Toxicroak gave me a really good switch into that. Anticipation is also very, very nice. So, Dry Skin is questionable, I guess, because it does also come with the crappy version of it, which is getting damaged by Sun, but Poison Touch is also an option, which is cool if I feel like I'm not risking Scald too much. But I do feel like I have answers to Fire types in Victini, Snorlax. I feel like Fire types aren't too scary, so I feel like that's not going to be a question. And nobody really is drafting a Sun team. And like, not that a Sun team would even be necessarily very good against me, because I have answers to that pretty easily too. But I feel pretty confident in Toxicroak as a UU1 pick, and I'm pretty amped to see what it is going to be capable of. Next up, we got our franchise pick, Snorlax. Snorlax is a great part of the defensive core, but it's also what's so valuable about it is it's a defensive Pokemon that does not lose me offensive pressure. Things don't want to take hits from Snorlax. It has a fantastic move pool. Basically runs almost whatever it wants to run. Things where it falls short are going to definitely just be basically not having recovery. I think that's exclusively the one place Snorlax falls short. Obviously, its speed stat sucks, but it's a defensive Pokemon. Were you really expecting to outspeed anything anyways? I hope not. So yeah, Snorlax is bomb. Great abilities and immunity and thick fat, both of which I've used in the past to be extremely useful. So I'm excited to see what it's going to be capable of. Cores up nicely with the other Pokemon I drafted if I was defensive. Cresselia, Snorlax, and then this next guy all core up very nicely, which is going to be Togetic. Togetic was my RU1 pick, and I'm super excited about it. It gets Hustle, Serene Grace, and Super Luck. None of these moves are super duper amazing. None of these abilities, I should say. Hustle, you know, I'm not going to be running physical attacking Togetic, I don't think. Maybe. I'm not usually one to run sets that crazy. Serene Grace, it doesn't really have the speed to rely on Air Slash flinches, because it's not going to be outspeeding anything, beyond the fact that other moves that it can really like utilize are going to be like, what, Ancient Power, Extra Sensory, again, there's a flinch chance. Like, I'm looking through it now. Not a whole lot of moves that's going to be able to benefit. It gets Nasty Plot, which I guess is cool, but I guess like a Nasty Plot and then Ancient Power set might be neat with Serene Grace. I don't even know if I'd run that, though. There's not a whole lot of moves. Ultimately, my point is there's not a whole lot of moves that get, like, effects that I would really want to be able to spam. I guess Tri Attack is maybe cool. Signal Beam, maybe. Shadow Ball, maybe. Not a lot of moves here that are easily spammable to get flinches. Air Slash doesn't even actually get. Never mind. I'm crazy. It doesn't even get Air Slash. And then finally, Super Luck. This Pokemon's critical hit ratio is raised by 1. That's kind of cool if I wanted to run something like Air Cutter. It gives me that guaranteed crit rate. But again, like, I'm not really going to be using attack. So cool abilities if I wanted to go down a kind of interesting type road. But ultimately nothing that's going to be too crazy. What really Togetic lies in is the bulk. It's got a good amount of natural bulk, really augmented by the fact that it gets the hold in a Violite, which makes it really potentially valuable. It's able to Wish Pass, which is very key. Even though it's got a low HP stack compared to Snorlax, an incredibly high one, and that's something I'm going to have to play around. It is able to Wish Pass into Snorlax and get that little bit of recovery that Snorlax will desperately need at a lot of moments. Togetic is also able to take on Dark types. Again, doesn't really want to switch on a knockoff in this Eviolite. That's something I'm too worried about because I feel like I have enough answers to Dark types where they're not going to be able to switch in for free. And so Clerical support's huge, Wish Pass support is huge. Basically, like I said earlier, Cresselia and Snorlax, one really good way to wear them down is by statusing them. Same thing goes for Medicham, honestly, or even Toxicroak, just burns all around, or Toxics. Specifically burns on my attackers, Toxics on my stallers are really going to be hard to deal with. So what Togetic affords me is a really good Cleric Pokemon if I think status is going to be a big part of the battle, and that's going to be pretty exciting to use. Next up, we got Excelgor. Excelgor is a cool Pokemon because it has a decent enough HP stat to use Final Gambit effectively, while also having a lot of other cool moves to use as well. It's got a monster speed stat that I can't talk about Excelgor without referring to. It's got Hydration, which is like a weird freaking ability, but like I don't know what I don't know what to say about Excelgor, honestly. Like, its abilities, as far as its ability goes at least, its abilities are all not super useful. Sticky Hold, I guess, lets it tank knockoffs? Can't tank knockoffs. But Unburden, I guess Sash Excelgor, if you got an offensive move, could, like, become kind of cool. But alas, it doesn't get, like, a boosting move. However, that's not to say it's completely useless, because that's not a role that I feel like I would need to be running on Excelgor. Excelgor is cool because it has a good amount of offensive pressure right at the bat with a 100 special attack set and an ability to outspeed everything unboosted in the entire league right now, actually, which is pretty nice to have. I like to have that one Pokemon that can control the speed game. What's also really nice is that it affords me a Spike Stacker, which is something I didn't have in the past season, and I found that to be very problematic because I really feel like Spike Stacking is key to a lot of games. If you can Spike Stack effectively, you can really just own the game. Yeah, I feel really strongly about that. Like, a good Spike Stacker on a team that can't handle it is, like, perfect. Regardless, I'm very amped to see what it's going to be capable of, because I had it in, I think, Season 1 or Season 2. Season 2. And it's nice to have a Spike Stacker, nice to have that speed control. Has great utility move pool, Final Gambit, Knockoff, U-Turn. Like, there's a lot of decent moves here. Encore. It's got a just good recovery move pool. Doesn't get Baton Pass. Oh, it does get Baton Pass. Baton Pass Agility. I wanted to, Baton Pass some agility to somebody. Who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it definitely gets a lot of cool moves, ultimately. Next up, we got the Pokemon that ended our Season 4 run single-handedly, and that's going to be Tyrantrum. Tyrantrum is a great Pokemon, no doubt. I picked it up in RU3, which is crazy, but it's got a very good move pool. 2 pretty solid abilities in Rockhead and Strong Draw. I'm excited to see what they're capable of. Great stat total. Speed, speed and special defense leaves something to be desired, but it's got access to Dragon Dance. It's got access to, I think it's even got access to Swords Dance. Nope, it does not, but it's got Dragon Dance and some really powerful base stab moves, such as Dragon Claw, such as Head Smash is the crazy one. So I got swept by a sub DD. It doesn't need to be sub DD. It could be sub DD. It could be Scarf. It could be Banded. It could be just regular DD. I'm really excited. It's also a potential Rocker and one potential check to Bird Spam. So those are all very important things to me, no doubt. So I'm excited to see what it's going to be able to bring to the table. But, from there, I don't know beyond that. Ultimately, we're going to have to see what Tyrantrum's capable of in my hands, because I've never had it before. I've never really used it a ton before, but it was able to sweep me, and it was available in RU3, and I was like, I really need to start picking up rockers, because Excelgor had spikes, but up until that point, I hadn't picked up any rockers. I don't want to be limited to one rocker either, or one hazard clears. These are all things you really just don't want to be limited to. I think the fact that I have 3 hazard clears on my team, 3 very good ones in my opinion, ultimately, is going to really deter people from bringing too many hazards to the game. I don't think anybody's going to try to bring spike stacking against me. If they do, I'm always going to have a hazard spinner on hand, spinner or a defogger. Because I have spike stacking and rocks in multiple places, it's nice to be able to afford that amount of that synergy where I can run rapid spin or run defog in certain situations. Regardless, Tyrantrum is a great Pokemon with a monstrous attack stat, the bulk thing that it needs to set up against certain physical attackers. Kind of typing that's interesting, but I'm not too upset. Things don't not many things want to take a head smash. I can run pretty bomb Edgequake combo, throw an Outrage or Dragon Dance or Dragon Claw or Outrage or some other coverage move in there. That's really all it needs to be effective. Next up, we got Tauros. Is my first NU1 pick. Tauros, I was amped to get Tauros. It's got a great couple of abilities, Intimidate and Sheer Force. Honestly, all you need to be successful in life. It also has Anger Point, so if I feel like getting hacks, if I end up getting hacks against me and I was smart enough to run that, I should just run that every time because I'm going to get hacked against, who knows. But what's nice about Tauros is that it affords a lot of offensive speed in the low tiers. It's not very versatile in its role, I will give it that. Although it's got a good defense stat. Anybody feeling a defensive Tauros? It's got a phenomenal move pool. If anybody wants to try and burn me, I've got Facade in the tank, ready to bop fools. I've got Pursuit, Rock Slide, Earthquake, Body Slam, Rock Climb, Wild Charge, Zen Headbutt. It's not a Stone Edge, it's not a big move pool, but it's all that it needs for Sheer Force to be really effective. Because Sheer Force plus Life Orb, coming off 100 attack, I think makes it one of the strongest attack stats paired with a Sheer Force. I think for Alligator's up there. I know Nidoking and Nidoqueen don't even break 100. So it's a really strong attack stat to combine with that. I can run Body Slam, I can run Rock Climb. Earthquake obviously doesn't get a boost, but neither would Facade. But that's not all I need. Rock Slide gets a boost. Ice Beam gets a boost. Some special moves if I want to run some special coverage. Ice Beam gets a boost. Iron Head gets a boost. Rock Slide gets a boost. Thunder and Thunderbolt get boosts. Wild Charge does not, but Zen Headbutt does. Blizzard gets a boost. Man, I'm really amped about this thing. I can always even run Headbutt or something if I was feeling flinching some stuff. I'm very amped to see what Tauros is going to be capable of. It's a great pick for the lower tier. Allows me another Pokemon that can control the speed game. It's very fast, and then 100 attack with enough bulk to use it, honestly. I'm very excited to see what it is going to do on my team. Next up, we got Sand Slash. Sand Slash, while its abilities do require it to be under sand to be extremely effective, I don't really need sand for Sand Slash. That's not really my intention. Where Sand Slash comes in clutch is a great attack stat, great amount of physical bulk, potential check to bird spam in a pinch, Assault Vest user, Choice Band user, Choice Scarf user, check, 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 check. Sand Slash is an awesome pick to have in NU2 as it affords me another rapid spinner that's going to be able to, deter that people bringing that and give me options if I feel like somebody's going to bring it anyways. I have options. And I think that's something you really want to stress with things that are when you get to a team, every team has roles they need to fill. When you're setting up your draft, it doesn't even matter if you're Pokemon that have rocks weaknesses. You have to bring hazard clears. That's just a fact. If you don't bring, if you don't have, at least possess hazard clears, you don't have to bring them necessarily. But if you don't possess them, people will see that and spike stack against you all day long, and you will lose to spike stacking. Fact. But if people see that you only have one way to clear said hazards, they're going to see that, know that that's all they have to do to remove it, or they can just set up for that one thing, boom, 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 problem solved, set up hazards on your butt, and you aren't switching for free anymore, son. So having multiple hazard clears like Togetic, I have Togetic, Slam Slash, and Wartortle. That's 3, 2 of which have Rapid Spin, being the superior move. Defog as well if I want to be able to go against ghost types. Who knows? What's really key about that though is because they can't prep for me to what hazard clear I'm going to bring super easily. They can try, they can expect something, maybe they're going to be right. But at the end of the line, I can bring options. I'm not limited in this one role, hazard clear, hazard setter. I'm not limited to bring only. It's like this is what your choices are. Like, and that's a good feeling. Like if I want to bring something, I don't have to bring exclusively this. If I want to bring a role. So Sand Slash is cool. It's got knockoff, Earthquake, Stone Edge, a lot of good coverage moves like through that. It's really all it needs is power, Edge Great combo. It's got another Penitential Rocker. Rapid Spin's cool. X Scissors cool. Swords Dance, Super Fang. Honestly, just a lot of really, really good options. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what this thing is capable of. Should be good. This thing just is power. Get a Poison Jab, Hone Claws, Knockoff, Night Slash. Just a lot of good moves here. Jesus Christ. Gyro Ball and some Fairy types. Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of good moves there. Next up on the list, we got Wartortle. I was going between Wartortle and Prinplup, and then in some controversy that ended up happening, I ended up having Wartortle. Maybe I'll free agent and get Prinplup. They're very similar Pokemon. I ended up deciding between Stealth Rocks and Haze and Rapid Spin and Defog. I ended up picking Wartortle. It's marginally bulkier, just about a little bit, but it is extremely bulky at that. With a Violite, this thing is taking hits. It's a potential Scald switch as well as a potential Scald user. It's got Haze, which is kind of cool to haze out some stat boosts because it can take hits usually. It's got Seismic Toss, so it's not like it can't do any damage in a pinch. Not a lot of Pokemon can break 100 to set up those subs. It's also got Water Spout, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if anybody ever noticed that. It's got Toxic. Yeah, I'm definitely pretty amped to see what this thing's capable of. Mainly Rapid Spin, honestly, is the main thing I drafted. It's bulky water with the Rapid Spin. I didn't have any bulky waters. Wartortle kind of fits the bill. Not extremely well, but you can't say it doesn't fit it either. It does leave some to be desired as far as recovery goes, obviously. But I am hoping that I will not need it to be super recoverable. So I'm pretty excited, though. Finally, we got Caracosta. Caracosta was another check to Bird Spam, which I feel like I needed at this point. There were some really powerful bird types and like flying types. Pokemon that could spam flying type moves in the league. And I saw that I had a really big weakness to flying types. Caracosta is cool because it can run a couple different sets very viably for a low-tier Pokemon, namely the Shell Smash variant. Coming off this attack stat and this defense stat, can basically set up on any physical attacker it wants and just Shell Smash up. Get up its boosts, White Herb or something, Life Orb, I don't freaking know. But just Aqua, it has access to Aqua Jet as well as a great move pool to attack with. Honestly, it can even run a pretty good special set. Special attack at 83 isn't bad. I could run a pretty awesome Assault Vest set, which would be able to just sponge up hits really well, even on both sides. It's got a really great move pool, honestly. What's also cool about this thing is it's got Sturdy or Solid Rock, both of which are very viable abilities. I can, obviously, because my team has a pretty comfortable time dealing with hazards, I'll be able to Rapid Spin away hazards, and hopefully this thing either can set up rocks for me, but what it can definitely do is take a hit and maybe KO something when we get up a Shell Smash on that hit if I'm running White Herb. So I'm pretty amped about that. Solid Rock is definitely useful for sure. Also, it just lets me take up hits. Water Rock not being the best typing in the world to take hits, obviously. Water Ground would have been better. But originally the plan was Barbaracle in this spot. Barbaracle having a slightly better move pool. Arguably better move pool. It's got Aqua Jet, which is pretty important actually, but Barbaracle also is a little faster. Caracosta can't even outspeed like a lot of Scarfed Pokemon after a speed boost, so that's kind of inhibiting it, so I definitely want to keep that in mind. However, it has superior bulk for sure, which means more reliably gets up the Shell Smash and access to priority, as well as 100% more useful abilities, being Solid Rock and Sturdy. Those are both substantially better than anything Caracosta has. Regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. It is always very appreciated. I am super excited for Season 5. Losing Garchomp in this draft really, really sucked, because Garchomp would have made this draft amazing. Having Garchomp would have made this draft incredible. It would have made it just unstoppable. I feel very strongly about that. I know how to use Garchomp. It's versatile. It's powerful. You can do whatever you really want with it. I have agility baton passers. Man. Sorry about that, guys. Man. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. But Season 5, hype. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Kraken Nation, out.